Finally the newly launched PS5 is here, and I know most of you people out there don't own a console and probably don't have any plans to buy it in near future as well. But at the same time, these consoles are quite fascinating, especially the newly launched PS5. So here are my favorite 5 things that you should know about this PS5. Now, this is not a review video. There are a lot of reviews, comparison, first impression, tips and tricks already out there on the internet. So there's no point of doing yet another one. But at the same time, ever since I started using PS5, there are a few things that I've noticed that made it stand out. Or if you have never used a console before, here are 5 things that you should know about PS5. Let's begin. Okay, so the first thing I notice about the console, and you probably have to, is that it's way ahead of its time. You see, the gaming consoles are not manufactured like smartphones. While there are new versions of smartphones releasing in every 6 months, the consoles, however, are released very slowly. For example, the PS5 has arrived in India almost after 7 years from the release of PS4, which was launched in 2013. And same is the case with PS4 and PS3 as well. There's usually a gap of 7 years, and that's the reason why company has to make sure that their gaming consoles are powerful enough in terms of hardware so that they can last at least 7 years. Now, talking about the PS5, it has the most futuristic design. It comes with a huge console and a gaming controller, where the actual machine is in the glossy center part in the black and is covered by the white plates with a matte finish on either side. It looks much bigger than the previous generation PS4, as you can see side by side. And this time you also have the option to place the console both horizontally and vertically. But let's be honest, most of you are gonna use it in vertical position only. And it's not just the layout, the hardware is also way ahead of its current specs. For example, it's powered by the custom 8-core AMD Zen 2 CPU, a custom AMD Radeon RDNA GPU, and the system memory is 16 GB, and it also comes with SSD. Yes, an SSD of 825 GB. And on top of that, it supports 4K at 120Hz on your television. Now, to give you perspective, here is PS5 and here is PS4 specs side by side, which will give you a good idea of how massive this upgrade is. So yeah, it's safe to assume that PS5 can easily last 5 to 7 years for most people out there. The next major change I notice in PS5 is the UI. It's much more simplified now. For example, pressing the PS button opens a small overlay at the bottom which gives you quick access to several features while staying on the game. This adds a little bit to the ease of use. They've also separated the game and the media menu to make it neat. However, it doesn't have as much streaming apps as you get with Xbox, although you do get most of them. That said, in India, as of now, it only supports 8 applications, while the US variant supports 20 streaming applications. I hope Sony will bring more app support in India, especially since there is no way of sideloading apps in PS5 like we have in Android television. Now, talking about the gaming experience, I played the Demon's Soul that is exclusively released for PS5, and honestly, the gameplay is not mind-blowing. Yes, it's good, but definitely not mind-blowing. And the same is the case with FIFA and other PS4 games that I played in it. However, I'm sure this will drastically change as more games are released for PS5 in a year or so. Also, I found there is no web browser in PS5 unlike the PS4, but there are some tips to get a bare-bone web browser to go to Google. So here's a neat little hack. I just went to the TechWiser video and inserted a Google link in the video description for easy access. But even when the web browser can access Google, it still cannot play videos from third-party sites. So the web browser is just for the browsing only. The third major change in PS5 is that the games are more expensive now. You see, PS5 is not only expensive for the console, but the games are quite expensive as well. Because in America, the pricing of a PS5 game has increased from $60 from PS4 to $70 in PS5. Similarly, in India, the pricing has changed from 4,000 rupees for PS4 to 5,000 rupees for PS5 games. I believe Sony should not do direct currency conversion in India and rather consider the difference in purchasing power in the West versus East. Just like you have a different pricing for games on Google Play Store and Steam in dollar and INR. So if the games are a little bit cheaper in India, the console will be sold a lot more and Sony will make a lot more value. of the most underrated thing about this console is the new DualSense controller. Yes, it comes with the next level of haptic feedback, sound and vibration, etc. Now, it's quite difficult to show you this in the video, but the DualSense controller brings a very precise response which allows you to feel every small detail being played on the screen. The controller sends across vibration mimicking what you see on the TV, and especially the R2 and L2 have a really good haptic feedback now. For example, the pre-installed game Astro's Playroom gives a detailed look at the controller's capabilities. The DualSense controller vibrates to replicate the feeling of raindrops on your hand. Same when the character is walking on the floor, the vibrations are different when it's on the water. And finally, should you buy the PS5 or should you rather get the cheaper PS4 for now? See, the disc version of PS5 costs 50,000, which is expensive for sure, and the game costs another 5,000 each, which I usually buy 4 to 6 of them in a year. Also, to utilize the PS5 to its full potential, you will need a 4K television, better if it can support 120Hz. So yeah, PS5 seems like an expensive business. But there are few things to keep in mind. For example, you can use PS5 for 5+ years, so for a gamer, it seems like a good long-term investment. Also, the games on PS5 are usually sold on huge discount right after release, and many people buy it on OLX as well. So yeah, while PS5 is expensive, it's not really that expensive. Okay, so here's a TLDR version. If you already have a PS4, then there's no hurry to buy a PS5 as of now, because there are very few games for PS5 at the moment, and Sony really has to figure out their supply chain as well. And even if you wait for a year, you are not missing out on anything huge. However, if you don't have a PS4 already and you're confused between a PS4 and a PS5, then I will recommend getting a PS5 instead. Yes, even if PS4 are sold for a lot cheaper price for next few months, I will still recommend getting a PS5 instead. It is future-proof, backward compatible so that you can play PS4 games on it, and it has a stunning, beautiful design that grabs attention. So yeah, if you have a PS4, wait for PS5 and get it when the stock is up. And if you don't have a PS4 and confused between PS4 and PS5, then get a PS5 as well. Overall, I'm sure most of you are not a typical console audience in India, but after using PS4 for years, I can recommend it to most people. At least give it a try at some point of your life. I mean, get a console someday and try some Sony exclusive games such as Uncharted, Last of Us, God of War, etc. and try if you like it or not, because these are the games that got me into console gaming and I really recommend it. And just don't settle for generic games like FIFA and Mortal Kombat, etc. Those are good but not the best. Either way, this is Minha signing off. Let me know how is your PS5 experience if you have tried any, and let me know if you are looking to buy a PS4 or PS5 in the comment section below. As always, it's Minha signing off. Catch you guys in the next one.